guys, Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with recommendations for your favorite tropes. So I asked on Instagram. If you're not following me yet on Instagram, definitely check it out down below. I do tons of photos and reading updates and requests for videos. So I asked what are some tropes you want recommendations for. So I have an entire list of tropes and I'm excited to get to them. So we'll go ahead and chat about your favorite tropes and my recommendations for them. So the first one is Second Chance. And so I'm going to be recommending Where We Belong by Ashley Munoz. This is the first in the Stone Riders MC series, and it is so good because we do get a lot of past and present, and I love that in a second chance romance because you really see the history of the characters. So we see them falling in love when they are teenagers, and he is from just like a normal family and she is from a motorcycle club, and she hates the MC life. She cannot stand it, and so he's like her safe haven. She crawls into his treehouse and they start a friendship that turns into a romance, and then something happens and she is back in town. Her father's dead and her ex is now the president of the MC she hates. And it's gonna be their romance together, and there's lots of suspense in here too, especially at the end, which I really loved, but the angst in here is everything, and I just love a good second chance romance. So if you love second chance like I do, and you like it when there's like a lot of time has passed and they have flashbacks of when they were falling in love, read this one. Someone asked for a why choose romance, and now I have a lot that I could talk about, and I'm gonna pick out my favorite contemporary, and that is Poison Roses by Tate James and Jamin Eve. I have not yet continued this series. I really need to. I just need to sit down and like binge the rest of it because the first one, so good. It reminds me of mafia romance because the heroine is basically on the run and she gets a job at a restaurant and they just like pay in cash, so she's like, sure. It ends up being the restaurant owned by her ex who wants to kill her, and so now she's on the run for her life because she sees them also kill someone during this meeting they're having during this lunch. And so now she's running, and she runs in literally like into the arms of this guy. He's instantly like, oh my god, I really like you and I really just want to protect you. And so he does, and he ends up being the bandmate of her other ex. And it's gonna be romance with her and I think 3 guys in the band, and like I don't know what's going on with this other ex from the mafia, but it is so good. The guys are just obsessed with her, except for the one hates her, named the band after her, but he hates her. So there's so many different dynamics. I just love it, and I love the extra added like danger to it because it feels romantic suspense. Just read this one. Friends to Lovers. This is a new one that I just read yesterday, and I would consider Friends to Lovers. This is Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. The hero and heroine start a friendship because the hero says he's married, and the heroine is determined to find a boyfriend by her 30th birthday. So there are trigger warnings for loss of a loved one. They both have lost someone. The heroine specifically lost her sister when she was 30, and so now the heroine is like getting to the age that her sister died at, and she has been just like really berated by her family about the fact that she is still single because her sister was trying to have kids and she was married. She was very successful, and so her family's like, why aren't you married yet? You're gonna turn 30. And even her uncle says really awful things about her weight, and that's why she's single. And so she said, well, I have a boyfriend and I'm bringing him to my birthday party. And so now she's got to find a boyfriend for her birthday party. So she decides to go on dates, and it's every Friday night at the same bar. And the first date, she gets stood up, she meets the bartender, and they really hit it off. They bicker and banter so well, but they really care about each other. So the hero is like, bring your dates here. I will like be around to like protect you and like ward off like the evil guys from online dating. And so that's this romance, but obviously, you know, they're gonna fall for each other, but they definitely become friends first, and the tension and pining is everything, and I loved this, so please read it. Forbidden Romance is the next recommendation, and I have Fourth Degree by Nikki Castle, because this one for sure becomes forbidden because if people find out, they're gonna be really upset because she is 19 and he is 35, and he is the MMA coach at this gym. He like owns the gym, and there is a really big stigma against relationships of people taking advantage of the women who they are coaching in the MMA world. So people would probably think like he's using his status as like a coach and his authority and abusing it. And so they have insane chemistry though. Like instantly there's chemistry there, but she has been taking care of her mother who is disabled and her teenage brother because her dad passed away, I believe. I don't remember what happened to her dad, but she has been working forever and always taking care of them, and this is her one thing to just enjoy and like splurge on herself for. So she doesn't want to ruin anything by having a relationship with the owner slash coach, but they can't help it. And there's definitely stigma against their relationship. It is definitely forbidden. They try to fight it as much as they can, but it was really good. I really enjoyed this one. Workplace slash boss employee. I have 2 of these because I had so many people request this. So the first one is going to be Second Semester. I love this trilogy from QB Tyler, and I feel like it's definitely one people don't gravitate towards by her because it's one of her earlier ones, but it's like more novella length. They're definitely thinner. The first one I really liked, that student professor, but this one is dad's best friend, boss employee. She just got a job working for her dad's best friend, and it's their romance. So if you want that taboo forbidden age gap in a boss employee, read this one. Way less taboo is Ick Factor by Morgan Elizabeth. This one, she is actually his secretary, and it's also fake engagement because he is trying to get like to become owner of this music industry company that he has, and his opponent is his like arch nemesis from college, and his dad's best friend owns the company, and he's like, I need you to not like live and breathe work. You need a life too. Like, I'm really worried about you. And so he's like, but I'm engaged. Like, what are you talking about? And so he asks his secretary to be his fake fiance. Well, really, she asks him, she really does not want the guy that's his nemesis to get the job. So she's like, we're gonna do this. And they end up falling in love, and it's super cute. So it's definitely very forced proximity and not forbidden whatsoever, but I just love this one. Found Family. I'm actually gonna have 2 from this series in this video, but the first one's Loving Romeo. I think that Laura Pavlov does Found Family so well. Well, so she did Family very well in the Honey Mountain series, but this series, they're not family, they're found family. They're a group of guys who are best friends, and they have the most adorable group chat, and one of them's a single dad, and his son wants to go buy beefcake, and they all like collectively like take care of him, and it is just so special and amazing, and I just love the found family in here. So if you really love a group of friends who all become family with one another and really protect each other and show up a lot in the books, please read this series. There's 3 books out now, and I'm recommending book 3 a little later in this video. Marriage of Convenience. I had a lot of recommendations for this one too, and I'm recommending Skies Over Caledonia by Samantha Young. This one is a romance where he is a farmer and she's a celebrity, and he needs money for his farm, and he doesn't want to ask anybody for help, but she needs a green card. Or like, is that what it's called in other countries? She needs to be able to stay in Scotland. She does not want to leave. She has a very, very troubled past. She made a lot of mistakes because of her childhood and growing up and how she was treated. So she just wants to stay in Scotland where her sister is, and so they get married, and she gives him money because she's like super rich, and she can stay in Scotland, and now she's living on a farm, and she actually loves farm life. There is suspense in here, so do know that there's gonna be animal death as well, but it's adorable how they fall in love. There's so many my wife moments. This book was just so good, and he's just like a broody farmer. Yes, please. Then we have Fake Dating, and I'm recommending Icebound by Meredith Trapp. I cannot talk about this book enough, and I'm so excited for Homebound coming out later, but that is a female bull rider, which I'm excited for. But this one is a hockey player. It's age gap. She's in college. He's like 31, 32, and he knows he wants to settle down and have kids. He knows his career as a hockey goalie is going to be ending soon, probably, because he's just at that age where he's probably going to move on, but he doesn't know what to do with his life, and he's like, I want to settle down. And the heroine is nowhere near wanting to settle down. She just has a fellowship in a different country. She's gonna go do art. She just loves life, and they end up meeting, getting into a car accident. Someone thinks that they're dating, and that's because her sister is dating her ex, and they show up at the accident. And she's like, I was out with my boyfriend, even though she was like a rideshare driver. And so then he gets the opportunity for a sponsorship, and those people are the ones that they also see in the accident, and so they think that they're dating, so they end up starting to fake date and obviously fall in love, and she has anxiety, and he does really sweet things for her, and it's just a really great hockey romance with so many different tropes that I loved, and it's fake dating, so check this one out. Captor Captive, I'm going to recommend an oldie but a goodie, which I have not finished the series yet. It's sitting, oh, it's out of frame, it's right here, and that is Passion and Venom by Shanora Williams. This one, the heroine gets married, and on her wedding day, her husband is taken out by the hero, and he kidnaps her. And so I think it was that it's his rival, like her husband slash fiance, I don't remember if they like just got married. He has a lot of enemies because he's in the mafia, and he takes him out and captures her, and she has to stay in his house. But he is very touch her and you die. Like, he's the only one allowed to touch her. So this was a lot of fun. I have to finish the series though. Then we have Student Teacher, and I'm gonna recommend Sin and Discipline, which is a music teacher and a piano player, I believe. And she has not the greatest life, and she actually meets the hero before she realizes that it's her piano teacher, and it's really good. And that's all I want to say. It's super unique. Like, if you liked Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, I think you would really love this one. I just really like the whole aspect of them both being into music as well, so definitely read this. Then we have Brother's Best Friend, which I am going to be recommending Forbidden King by Laura Pavlov. This one just came out and it was so good. So they actually have been friends for a very long time. She lost her parents, and her brother ended up staying with her brother's best friend for a little bit when they're younger, and he actually like sleeps every night in her bed just to like ward off her nightmares, just to protect her and make her not have nightmares anymore, and nothing ever happens. They just like are there to comfort each other. And now as adults, they are super close, and they have this thing where they hide a dandelion around each other, and it's really cute. And she's opening a bookstore and he's helping her open it. Her brother's not in town because he's a firefighter, so he's off fighting like a wildfire or something, and they end up hooking up. And it is so cute, but they definitely have a lot of guilt because he is so close with her brother. She never wants to betray her brother, so it gets a little messy, but I really, really love this one. So please read it for a Brother's Best Friend romance, and it's really good found family. Sister's X, I am gonna go with Second Down Darling by Lex Martin. This one is actually like friends to lovers and Sister's X, so they were super close friends, and she's in love with her best friend. And then her sister makes a move, and he gets her sister pregnant, and she's like, my life sucks. So she actually ends up leaving and moving to a different college and just like basically cutting out contact with him. She's like, I can't watch you have a family with my sister when I'm in love with you. So she leaves, and then lo and behold, he is a new transfer football player, now single dad at her college. And so she's like, well, this is my nephew. I need to offer to help at some points. And they meet because I think she's putting on this calendar for the football team because she's taking photos for it. And it goes from there. And it's definitely angsty and really good, and I really enjoy this one. We have Angsty, and I'm gonna talk about a book I talk about all the time on here, and that's The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I literally stayed up until like 1 a.m. reading this, and if you know me, I cannot stay up late, so I could not put this book down. It is a ex-boyfriend's brother romance, and she is actually on vacation with ex-boyfriend's family, and she is this superstar singer, and her boyfriend is a musician, and he gets stuck in a foreign country, so he's late coming to the vacation in Hawaii because he's got some substances he's not supposed to have. So now she's stuck on this family vacation where the mom is actually dying of cancer with his older brother who hates her guts and his parents, and so they end up spending more time together and falling for each other. But he is a doctor in a war-torn country, and she is a global superstar, so like how could their relationship ever work? And she is an ex of his brother's who still wants to be together with her. So I love this one so much, and it was so angsty and I couldn't get over it. Please read it. Heartbreaking, I'm gonna go with God of Fury by Rena Kent. This one just ripped me apart, and there were so many quotes in here about being there for the person that you love even when they can't love themselves. Oh, it was so good. It's MM. Definitely hard to get into because the one hero is like legitimately a psychopath, but the other hero is he very straight-laced and very follow the rules, and the other one decides he likes him and won't let him get away, and they end up falling in love with one another. But it's very, very heartbreaking. There's a lot of dark topics discussed in here with those two main characters, so definitely know that. And it kind of like felt like a hint to Mafia, which I really like because the one hero is from a Mafia family. But I really like this one, and it makes me really want to try out more Rena Kent, even though I haven't enjoyed her like high school bully romances. I want to read the next book in the series, so we'll see if I do that. And Amnesia romance, which are my favorites. I do not read enough of these. I'm going with Bittersweet Memories by Katarina Mora. I feel like this is a underrated book by Katarina Mora. A lot of people are reading her new series, but this one is Amnesia. The hero and heroine fall in love, and then she disappears. And he basically creates this multi-million-dollar company just to find her, and finds her, and she has amnesia. She's dating someone he knows. So it's super angsty, it's so good, and I love an amnesia romance, so obviously I was obsessed with this one. Then we have an artist romance, and that means like one of the characters is an artist, and I'm actually going to stretch this a little bit where I'm going to recommend The Search by Nora Roberts because the hero is a furniture designer, artist, architect. He is very into creating things from things. So even one point he like cuts down a tree to make a really pretty piece of furniture for the heroine, and this one is like on an island and he is just like enjoying being secluded and creating his art basically, which is like his furniture. And the heroine is a dog trainer, and she is very damaged because she survived a serial killer, and the serial killer was so upset that she survived because he wasn't caught that he tracked her down, murdered her fiance and her fiance's dog. And so now she has trained dogs to protect her, and now there's a copycat serial killer because her serial killer went to prison after he killed her fiance. So she's falling for the hero who's on the island training his dog, and now they're scared there's a serial killer on the loose that's coming closer to her. It's so good. This is my favorite Nora Roberts book. Please read it. I was obsessed with this. Marriage in Trouble. I'm gonna do one I don't talk about a lot at all, and that's Do I Know You? This one is a interesting one because they are on vacation at a resort, and they have been in a really rocky place in their marriage where they just aren't really even talking to each other. Like, it's awkward driving the car together. Like, they're just at a point where they just do not know how to talk, and they decide to act like they don't know each other and kind of like date for the first time, and I had a lot of fun. I listened to this in audio, and I remember listening to it on a car ride where I think I listened to the entire thing in one sitting, and that's why it went so fast for me. But I really love books that take place on like resorts or in different locations on like vacation, so I really enjoyed this, and they had to learn to communicate with each other again and fall back in love. And I liked it, and I feel like this is one not a lot of people talk about. And then we have love triangle, which this is hard for me because I feel like I have not read a lot of love triangle romances where it's a true love triangle where you're like, I do not know who she's gonna end up with. Typically, if it's a love triangle that I've read, I feel like it's always obvious like who the number one is, and you know she should end up with them. But it's going to be What He Doesn't Know and What He Always Knew by Candy Steiner. I'm gonna put the cover here. I always get the titles wrong, but this one. So the heroine's married, and they're having a very rocky relationship due to the inability to have children, and she has someone from her past come back into her life who is like, I'm all in, I want you. And so her husband has to fight for her, this guy from her past has to fight for her, and you legitimately do not know who she's gonna pick. But the third book is about the person she doesn't pick, so please do not look at the synopsis of the third book or even the cover of the third book because it will give it away. But these are so good. So angsty. It's a duet. Please read them because you're like, is she gonna go and give her husband a chance? Is he fighting enough? Or is she gonna go with this guy that she's always liked who finally is like, I want you too? It's so angsty. I loved it. And those are my recommendations for tropes that are your favorite that you asked for recommendations for. Let me know if you have any other tropes that you love or any other recommendations for these kinds of tropes. I would love to hear. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.